Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. A second look at what is to be the Mary Spencer versus Mikaela Mayer fight. Mary Spencer will defend the WBA Super Welterweight title against the current WBO Welterweight champion Mikaela Mayer on October 30th in Montreal. It is undoubtedly a great fight. It could even be a Fight of the Year contender, but in many ways, and for both Spencer and Mayer, it could be the gateway to much bigger fights in 2026. Despite holding that WBA 154-pound barbell, Spencer has spent much of a 12-fight professional career away from the bright lights, especially in comparison to her next opponent, Mayer, who has benefited from showcasing her skills across the massive ESPN and Sky Sports platforms. Brings eyes and the required numbers. The two-weight world champion will give Spencer her most high-profile opponent to date. A win over Mayer could even land the Canadian with an even bigger prize. Spencer has lost to Clarissa Shields as an amateur, and she has a desire to fight Shields once again, but this time in the paid ranks. If she beats Mayer in October, Spencer knows she could jump the queue for a lucrative showdown with Clarissa, who's currently campaigning as a heavyweight, but the potential financial reward isn't the motivation for wanting to share a ring with the decorated American again. I would love to have that fight, Spencer told me last week. I don't even care about the money or the prestige. Those defeats in the unpaid ranks still hurt Spencer. A belief that she wasn't at her best when she fought Shields over a decade ago. A longtime amateur coach was absent through illness during that period of her career. Spencer wants that opportunity to run it back. A victory over Mikaela Mayer would definitely help her cause. Despite being the naturally bigger fighter, Spencer will likely start the fight with Mayer as the betting underdog. Because the 40-year-old is confident she will get the biggest win of her career in Montreal, I think there is a very good chance I can stop Mikaela Mayer. Easier said than done, I think. She couldn't stop Femke Hermans, who's been stopped before by Savannah Marshall. So what are the odds she stops Mikaela, who has competed at a higher level than Mary in the paid ranks, fought big punchers, and has never been stopped before, hasn't even been dropped? Mayer heads into the fight with Spencer in the form of her life. The move up to welterweight from super feather has served her incredibly well. Now, with Kofi Gentua alongside the long-term trainer Alfred Mitchell, Mayer has reaped the benefits of her new and improved training setup. Those two wins over Sandy Ryan brought her out of the boxing wilderness. They also showed us a fighter who was still improving. The fight with Mary Spencer gives Mayer the opportunity to become a three-weight world champion, but the former Olympian wants even more in the coming year. I want to beat Mary Spencer and take her belt and become a three-weight world champion, and then drop back to 147 and get that fight done with Lauren Price. Despite everything she's achieved, Mayer wants to add even more glitter to her resume. There are even thoughts of fighting Chantel Cameron and winning a world title in a fourth weight division. The fight with Mary Spencer is of the utmost importance for Mikaela Mayer. She is no stranger to rolling the dice. Mayer is doing so again. I like Mikaela's chances in the fight, but it would be short-sighted to say it's not a gamble. It's definitely a gamble. She's definitely rolling the dice. She's going to be the away fighter on foreign soil. She's going to be the challenger, not the champion. And she's doing so willingly, which communicates a lot of confidence that you must really believe you can beat Mary to accept this fight under these circumstances, and as a stay busy fight at that. Because you see what she said. If she wins the fight, she has plans of moving back down to 147. She's got the WBO title there. WBO's got a rule. They don't let their champions hold multiple titles at multiple weights at the same time. They make you choose.
Sounds like she already made her choice.
The Lauren Price fight is still a priority to Michaela. That one's for all the marbles at 147, but now is less than an ideal time to do it. So she's gonna keep busy with Mary. What's nuanced and novel about this fight is Michaela won't be the taller fighter for a change. Usually, she's a lot bigger than the girls that she fights, at least taller.
Mary's taller than her, but oddly enough, I don't think Mary's got more reach than her.
Mary's arms look kind of short for a woman her size, which might explain why she's so good mid-range to inside. Shorter arms within close proximity make for fluid combinations. Mary's sweet spot, in spite of how tall she is within close quarters.
Close up.
So that's saying that even though Michaela Mayer is the smaller fighter in the fight, she's actually better at boxing from the outside, using her length and using her jab, than Mary. And that's how I anticipate she's going to win the fight, setting Mary Spencer up, who's going to try to bear down on Michaela.
Pressure her.
At which point, Michaela can step out and work off the counter and keep the counters coming. That's how Femke Hermans beat Mary Spencer. That's how I think Michaela will beat Mary Spencer, stepping out, working off the counter.
It's a calculated risk, but make no mistake, it is a risk.
Still no word on who the broadcast is going to be. Normally, here in the United States, if you wanted to watch an Eye of the Tiger management show, you'd watch it on ESPN via Top Rank. But now the Top Rank's not in bed with them anymore. We don't know where we can see Michaela fight.
Is it going to be on Stars, who's rumored to have inked a deal with Top Rank?
We're at the very end of August, and this fight is supposed to happen at the end of October, so those answers will come shortly if they actually make this fight, because they haven't made it official. Not yet. Over to a back-and-forth exchange between the rivals Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. Lamont Roach addressed the rumor that he was paid step-aside money by Netflix to allow Gervonta to box Jake Paul. Lamont said, "All you stupid motherfuckers know, if I received some step-aside money, I would have told you and showed you. Kill that narrative right now." To which Gervonta Davis responded, "Exactly, because you're a bitch. Now go sit down and put your hand on your chin and figure out how that happened to your mans. Same way I put food in your mouth, I took it. Snatchies!"
Is he serious?
So first, let's address the bit about the step-aside money.
Yeah.
The reason so many people were under the impression Lamont got step-aside money is because of Lamont. Lamont posted an image on his Instagram stories detailing Netflix money, that he likes Netflix money. People interpreted that as him getting step-aside money. That was their misinterpretation, but he's the one started it.
I myself was not a proponent of that narrative, because why would Gervonta have to pay Lamont step-aside money? Gervonta's the one that had the rematch clause.
And I'm fairly confident that it was a one-way rematch clause that only Gervonta could activate. That's why he fights guys like Lamont Roach and Frank Martin. It's easy to pull rank on guys like that ain't got no money behind them and no marquee value.
No leverage in negotiations, no nothing.
That being said, I couldn't see a situation where Gervonta has to pay him to stand down and step aside. And in stepping aside, that implies that Gervonta would revisit the Lamont Roach fight afterwards, which I never thought he was going to do.
He's not going to do that.
Now, addressing Gervonta Davis's comments towards Lamont, he had the audacity, the nerve, to call Lamont Roach a bitch? Buddy, you're the one that bent the knee to him and tried to blame it on hairspray.
Just for your hairdresser to expose you that same weekend.
Saying she wasn't going to take the heat for all of this. Now, you ran to your corner like a scared child during the fight, and you ran away from the rematch.
You're the bitch.
You're the pussy. I can't believe my eyes how many people are trying to defend someone so derelict of any redeemable qualities, both as a boxer and as a person.
He's trying to treat this like it's a flex.
It's a flex that you're a coward? It's a flex that you're bailing on the rematch?
That's how you get back at him? By not fighting.
And this deviation from the norm is almost biblical. Left is right, up is down. Courage in the face of adversity is denigrated, and cowardice is what's celebrated.
Gervonta Davis's fans are celebrating this. That he's gonna make a bunch of money without having to deal with Lamont Roach again. They're celebrating. They're happy for him.
It's because he escaped. It's because they don't want Gervonta to end up like Deontay Wilder did, like Errol Spence Jr. did, Stephen Fulton. They don't want him to be the next PBC hype job to get exposed.
He already got exposed.
They're so angry at Lamont Roach for having the audacity to try to win. The nerve of him to not falter or fail, to not lay down. They act like he committed capital murder, a capital crime, by not losing to Gervonta Davis, accenting what I've been telling you all along. These people don't want boxing to be a competition. They don't want it to be a sport. They want it to be a story, a scripted drama, where their favorite character always comes out on top.
Even when he's not supposed to.
They don't want boxing to be a competition or to be competitive because they can't compete.
Shit is pathetic.
I'm almost out of words for it because I reiterate, I've never seen a fighter so derelict of any redeemable qualities, both as a boxer and as a person, be put on a pedestal. This kind of an effort acts as both a testament to America's fall from boxing and its people, because what kind of people could support a guy like this?
Yeah, they don't inspire to anything anymore. They just settle into their own shortcomings, their own mediocrity.
And I wouldn't even say that they're owning the mediocrity per se, because they keep trying to frame it like it's something else, like it's something other than you running scared, because you're a pussy, you're a bitch.
Coward.
But I'll tell you that Gervonta Davis's legacy in the sport of boxing, if you even think he has one, it's not going to age well. They like you right now, they do, but they only build you up to break you down. After a bit of time passes and some fresh new faces arrive, somebody new to root for.
After they get bored of playing with you.
The American boxing fan is more fickle than most, more wishy-washy. You didn't give them much to remember you by, in terms of legendary nights, legendary fights. It seems that your career highlight is boxing a TikToker that didn't accomplish anything. Ryan Garcia. And the whole appeal of that is that's the only time you did real numbers at the box office. That aside,
I mean, that's it.
When the money runs out, and rest assured it's going to, Gervonta Davis is too goddamn stupid to do anything else. He's got all the same stereotypical spending habits you expect from a professional athlete, to where it doesn't matter what you made while you were active. Once you're not, eventually it's gonna be all gone, because you ain't smart enough to do nothing else.
You ain't got the mind for business.
You're gonna end up just like Adrian Broner. The people bigging you up now, a couple of years from now, won't care enough about ya.
They're not gonna have the same passion for defending you that they did before. I mean, look at Wilder, look at Spence.
Enjoy it while it lasts, because nothing does. Karma always comes back around, and it'll come back around for you. Believe me, it will.
Just wait.
Devin's the same as well.
Yeah,
These
he
guys,
is.
they're
But he's changed. Devin's changed. Because Devin's fallen out of love with the sport of boxing because of what happened with Ryan Garcia and other bullshit as well, you see? So, Devin, when he started, all he wanted to do was chase greatness. I don't think he's like that anymore.
Do you blame him though?
No, I mean, I think it was a rough ride what happened to him in the Ryan Garcia fight, but it wasn't just what happened to him, it was people's responses. Like, he became the villain in a fight where he got bashed up by a guy that had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. And that should never have been that way. And I think it made Devin fall out of love with the sport of boxing. And I think now, a big part of Devin's just fighting for money. And that's when it becomes dangerous, because you're not the same fighter.
Is Brian Norman about money?
No, not yet. And that's why that fight is very dangerous. And there's a very good chance Devin Haney could lose that fight.
Do you like that fight?
Not for Devin. But you see now, Nuna, what's happened is Bill and Devin, they're not looking strategically. They're looking for the bag. That's it. Right? So they're like, where can we make our 5, 6, 7 million? What fight? That's why they said, we'll fight Boots at 147. We're like, well, we're going up, but we'll fight you at 150. Oh, all right, we'll fight Teofimo. We'll fight Brian Norman. Well, because they just wanted the money.
This was happening in New York when we were there, remember?
Yeah, but they just want the money. So they don't care now. Like back in the day, Bill was a lot more selective and tactical about who to fight. Now he just wants the money, which shows me, by the way, there's still a good fight. I mean, also, it's not just the money. If he beats Brian Norman, he becomes a 3-division world champion, which is a great achievement. But there's definitely, in my opinion now, the Haneys are looking at the situation and looking at money, rather than legacy. They still care, but not in the same way.
In a build-up of what eventually became the Brian Norman fight, I said that Devin was stuck between a rock and a hard place because the Ryan Garcia rematch had fallen through. They couldn't get Teofimo in the ring, and Devin being a free agent, you don't have somebody there to make you that stay busy fight, that
easy one,
easier fight, while you wait for something bigger to come along. So you end up with a Brian Norman where maybe right now you should be taking your foot off the gas. You got stuff going on outside of the ring, the lawsuit with your baby's mother, all of that stuff.
And you're fighting Brian Norman.
And he's only doing it because he doesn't want to go backwards on the money.
The money is the motivation.
They were in such a hurry, a scramble to land a big-name opponent for big money. After the Ryan Garcia fight fell through, they accepted this.
But Eddie don't like this fight for Devin. Why?
This is where free agency is not all it's cracked up to be. See, if you're in bed with a Matchroom, maybe you get those 1 or 2 stay busy fights while you rebuild yourself, rebuild your confidence, and put more distance between you and that Ryan Garcia fight. Even if the loss got overturned, the damage didn't. The psychological damage, the emotional damage.
Nothing the New York State Athletic Commission can do about that.
It's different. The approach is different. Building yourself up to become a 3-weight world champion, as opposed to doing it because you're after the money. You just want the money. You want another big Saudi payday.
The mentality is different.
The approach is different. Even if the stimuli is the same, fighting for a title at a 3rd weight, you're not doing things for the same reason you did them before. And if you go in there half-hearted with a guy like Brian Norman,
You get hurt.
well, you heard what Eddie said.
You get hurt.
You gotta give Devin credit for consistently accepting difficult fights that some other fighters run away from. He fought Loma where Gervonta Davis didn't want to go near him.
He's fighting Brian Norman that Teofimo didn't want to go near.
There is some semblance of courage there, but there is also a difference between prize fighting and pride fighting. Do you really fight as hard as you can? Do you really fight as hard when it's just about the prize? When it's just about the money?
I'm not idealizing the situation. I'm only an observer, narrating what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is
Greed.
they were in such a scramble to get another big Saudi bag. This time, they may have bitten off more than they can chew.
Devin Haney at his very best is a long-distance, long-range fighter that stays behind the jab and sets his opponent up as the opponent tries to close the distance. But we've seen it fight by fight as he moves up in weight and the opponents get bigger. It's harder for him to manage that distance.
He was very big at lightweight, still had some size as a super lightweight, but you noticed with Ryan, he couldn't stay out of the way of the left hook.
He kept getting caught with the same punch over and over, and it's not a coincidence that Ryan is taller than Devin Haney. So as the height advantage and the length advantage goes, so does Devin's ability to manage the distance.
But again, in the Jose Ramirez fight, there's a reason he didn't want to stand in one spot long enough to let go of some punches. Jose is not a little guy.
You can't just scrappy-do him the way you was scrappy-doing George Cambodia. Jose's a bigger guy, takes a better punch. You can't discourage him as easily as you did those guys at 135. So as Devin Haney's size advantage goes, so does his ability to manage the distance. And now you're moving up to a 3rd weight for no other reason than you want a big Saudi bag. Fighting Brian Norman, a much bigger guy than you used to, with a bigger punch. And I see what Eddie Hearn is saying, that perhaps you accepted this fight, you took it, albeit for the wrong reasons. This is a risky endeavor.
You may not be in the right headspace right now for a fight like this with a guy like this.
Devin's the more decorated fighter, decorated on paper. He was undisputed at lightweight, but for beating who? George Kambosos?
Just one guy.
Won all those belts in one fell swoop. You're a 2-weight world champion, but for beating who? A shot Regis Prograis?
It's a situation to where Brian don't have to be as decorated as you are to be more than you can handle.
I see what Eddie Hearn was saying.